First step to first-time home buying. What should that be?
Guys, welcome back to the Branneky Team podcast. My name's Tim Branneky. We got Jamie Burdish still in C-ball. This is officially episode number 3. So this episode, first off, if you like the show, make sure you're sharing it. But this episode, we're going to be talking about
some Q&A.
Q&A.
Some questions that maybe you guys asked, some of our friends, past clients, and then we put out some social media to just bring in a big group of questions that we could ask. And we think we picked out a few good ones.
Where did the majority of these questions come from?
Probably social media.
Okay, gotcha. As I was saying, I think we put out on Instagram a few different times trying to pull in some questions.
Yeah.
And we had some on the comments, but Instagram, I think, was probably our number one source. So
yeah,
in the description, we'll have our Instagram page. So make sure to throw us a follow at that point too.
The first one. Why do some listings have crazy high prices? Very common. It seems basic. It seems like a basic question.
No, that's a good one. Jamie, do you want to start or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay. I would say it has a lot to do with, and see, this is where I don't want to get myself caught up, but I'm going to say it has a lot to do with the realtor that's listing the house, and it has a lot to do with the seller that's listing the house. Majority of the time, and this goes back to expireds, and expireds meaning the home just didn't sell within the term of the listing contract between the listing agent and the seller, but the listing agent saying that they will list the price at any price the seller wants, as long as they get that listing. So a question I get all the time is, well, why do you think my home hasn't sold? And I'm like, well, it's super overpriced. And the thing is, everywhere else, when I'm on a listing appointment, another common question I get is, well, so-and-so said that they'll list it higher than that.
Right.
And I tell them, well, that's very real. I believe you, because a listing agent will agree to any price most of the time, as long as they're willing to take your listing right away. It's just the fact that they're going to start beating you up on the price week after week after week after week. And is that really what you want? Do you want to be told that you're always going to have to do price reductions? Then when you're on the market, it's looking like, wow, they had 5 or 6 price reductions. What's wrong with the house? It's been on the market for 4 months. So there's a lot of factors that come into that. But in my honest opinion, I believe 2 reasons for why homes are really crazily priced if they are not selling. One, the exact reason I just described. The listing agent was just willing to take any price as long as they could just try to get the listing. And 2, the seller is not motivated. I think understanding a seller's motivation is huge. And that's the listing agent's job, which is to understand the seller's motivation, because if the seller doesn't want to move and they say, oh yeah, if we get this price, great. If we don't, I mean, I don't plan on moving anyways. Yeah. Why take the listing?
Well, and that's why
try.
That's why the listing appointment is so important, because it's not just you're interviewing for the job.
Right.
You're wondering if they're right fit for you.
Exactly.
Right? If you want to sell the house.
It goes both ways, 100%.
Yeah, I know one story. I mean, my dad always brings it up, is when they're selling their first house. It was, quite a while ago, but the realtor said that she'll take the job and she'll price it for higher than all the other realtors they interviewed. I think they probably did 3 or 4.
Wow.
They interviewed, and she said she would do the highest. Next time they met with her, they signed an agreement with her.
Yeah.
She says, okay, I want to raise my commission by 0.5% just because we're going to list it for higher. And I think you need to do a $3,000 for the carpet.
Wow.
You need to offer $3,000. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're just like, what?
Wow.
You said it would sell at this price, and now you're just saying that
because they just want to get that sign.
That just allowed you the room to offer more commission. And yeah, so they weren't too happy about that. But yeah, it's a situation where both sides kind of have to stand their ground, because it's a tough position for a realtor when someone really wants a number in their head, and
you need to be realistic.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You have to be realistic.
Now, is it almost better to like underprice? I mean, because not necessarily underprice, but like pricing it right does so much more than there's just so many more benefits to like you price it wrong. It's like it's gonna roll and
Well,
just gonna go downhill.
I think overpricing is worse than
Oh
underpricing.
well, yeah,
No
Yeah.
doubt about it. And I think underpricing isn't always bad because you're getting people in the
that's my
door. And
point. Yeah,
that's my biggest thing I always tell my clients is at the end of the day, I if we get 15, 20 offers, great. Do I really care about that? Not as much because you're going to accept one.
yeah,
Right.
And if we get 15 offers, that's awesome because we get to kind of leverage that. We get the opportunity to try to pick and choose maybe a little more. But at the end of the day, we're just wanting one good offer that is willing to do the terms that we're looking for, and that's it. So if we're going to focus on trying to get numerous offers, yeah, let's price it low. Let's get people in the door. But at the same time, pricing it low and getting people through the door is getting you that offer that you're looking for. So I don't think that's a bad thing by any means.
yeah.
But no, I think that's a good question, honestly.
Second one is first step to first time home buying. What should that be? Or maybe just throw out a
Jamie?
couple things. Yeah.
Not obviously, I guess, but pre-approval. I get this question kind of a lot, and with some of the stuff that I do, one of the first questions you've told me to always ask is, are you pre-approved? And it's not always just like I think people sometimes are afraid to get pre-approved
Yes.
because they don't want to like see a number that they don't like, but
You don't want to face reality
Right.
of their financial situation or their credit. Like they don't want somebody else to see that and then feel like they're being judged because of that.
yeah, I think we talked about generations in like the last episode. I
Yeah.
think there's like a pride thing with it as well. It's just like
That's a good point.
you don't want to be seen like you're saying. It's like you have and whatever the reason be low credit or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I do think that like that's just like an answer for you to like move forward in the process. Not only like I mean the biggest thing obviously you have to be pre-approved essentially to move forward with a deal. It makes you more credible and whatnot, but it just gives you a sense of what you can afford and how to move forward. Because as realtors, I know we use that as creating searches and
Yeah.
allowing them to have the best results. So we're not wasting time and we're making the most efficient process of the home buying process because it can take a long time, but at the same time, it could be really quick if we find the right house.
Oh yeah. No, you need to be pre-approved. And that's not even a question or a debate like if
Yeah.
I should or when should. I mean, it needs to be done right away.
Yeah.
And it's just to the point too where a lot of people may not realize the financial position they're in, good or bad, and it's a
Right.
wake-up
Right.
call. It
Yeah.
is a reality check of saying, you know what? I need to really focus in and get some debt taken care of. Or crap, you know what? Maybe maxing out all my credit cards last year and not paying them off. Maybe that did have an effect on me and I should focus on and I think that's where if that situation does come up because almost every day we talk to clients and anybody that is coming through our system or our CRM that we're talking with and they have that situation of debt, of credit scores, low income, things like that. We have programs that they can get involved with, credit repair programs,
Right.
just to help get them back into the position. So in a year or maybe 24, 48 months down the road, they're able to buy, but we have the resources and the connections to put them in that credit repair system.
And that's what I love too. Like being a realtor, it's awesome because you're helping a lot of people, and that's really rewarding. When I've had people come to me and be like, I don't know if we're gonna rent because we can't afford it, right? But let's see if we can. I mean, sure, if you want to rent, that's your personal preference, but we talked about it last episode. But building equity is important, and if you're able to buy a home, that's yours. Like you own that home. It's awesome. So I always encourage people to just look and see, what they can afford. And you might not be able to, but like Tim, like you said, there's some really great programs out there too.
Yeah, and I think it's just knowing that there's fantasy land and then there's reality, and it's just where do you want to be? Do you want to have the ego of saying, "Oh, everything's going to be fine. Let's get the house first, and then we'll go through the loan process," or do you want to be in reality and know where you stand?
Right.
And I think you guys nailed it on that one.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is, just don't be afraid to take that step. It's like going to the doctors.
Face
I mean,
reality.
yeah, it's the reality of your health, and you might get some medicine to make it better,
It's
but
your financial health.
right, it's
That's
it's
what it
just the
is.
reality, and as soon as you get that taken care of, I mean,
No, that's a great way to put it.
it'll make it so much easier. How do you make a more competitive offer without overpaying?
That's a good one. And I'll take it right away and say there's multiple different situations.
Absolutely.
I'm going to just kind of start at the top of the contract and go down, to be honest. And the first thing, we're obviously skipping purchase price. So let's go to the next line, which is going to be talking about earnest money. Earnest money it's that wedding, or it's that engagement ring to a wedding.
Yeah.
It's that money that you're putting up saying, in good faith, I'm going to close. And at the end of the day, it's part of your down payment. So you're putting it up. If you back out due to your contingency, as long as you're within your deadlines, which is our job. I mean, if we miss a deadline, that's on us. I mean, that we should not be in the business. So it's the fact that you're putting this money down. It's going to be part of your money you're going to pay anyways as your down payment. You're just putting it up front. And you can do a large sum right then and there. That helps, because the way I always put it is I say it's eye candy, to be honest. Does it change the aspect of the contract in the terms of it? Not at all. But it shows that you're a serious buyer. It shows that financially you're strong, and you're showing that this is something you're serious about.
Yeah.
You want this to happen.
You could argue that that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, and
I
think
mean, now how much a seller will value it might depend on.
might vary.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
if you have 3 contracts and it's and say the house is $400,000, for example, and you have a $5,000, a $7,000, and then a $25,000, obviously one's going to stand out tremendously.
yeah,
The terms of the contract will all be the exact same, but that number of earnest money, that can win you a contract. But it goes farther than that. You can do non-refundable earnest money. That's a big one. So you can say, you know what? After inspections, my earnest money is yours. Put it in your bank account. There you go. It's yours. If I back out due to the loan or survey or appraisal or any other reason, it's yours. That I lose it. Or you could say it's non-refundable at the time of the acceptance of the contract. Obviously, it's a little more risky, but hell, it's going to stand out.
probably one of the more aggressive ways.
It's a very
make it
aggressive
stand
way,
out.
but is that not going to stand out?
Well, and you could argue that kind of goes against the question of overpaying. I mean, obviously, depending on your budget, but
But you're putting that money down anyways. And
right.
if it's a house that you truly feel, and okay, do this. Here's another thing that you could do. Do a walkthrough when you do your showing. Have an inspector walk through with you. The inspection companies will do that. The company that I recommend to all my clients, which is the Scott Frederick Team Pillar to Post, they will do a walkthrough with you during your showing.
Right.
Now, obviously, there's going to be a little charge for it, but they're not going to go through all the fine details, but they will point some things out and check some items, and
Yeah.
it's the fact
Information in the content in the comments.
in the comments, yes. But it's just the fact, like, there's a lot you can do to make yourself feel more comfortable with doing that. Because if everybody's doing 5,000 earnest money, but one says, even if we back out, you keep it, it's going to stand out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more, but do you guys have any?
Yeah, I mean, if you continue moving down, I mean, sometimes it's as simple as shortening the inspection period.
That's very true.
I mean, it's
Contract's default is 10 days. So
Yeah.
if you shorten that out to, realistically, Dylan, if somebody wants to get a home inspection done and say radon done, or just say home inspection and sewer and termite, like how fast do you think that all can take?
those inspections.
Yeah, like how big of a period do you think it would take for all those to be wrapped up?
You could get all of them in the house within 5 days.
5 days. That's what I would say. Because you think about it, radon's going to take usually 2 to 3 days for the
Yeah.
radon testing, but termite, sewer, and home inspection,
Yeah.
they're all doing that at the same time. That is
Yep.
typically always done at the same day, same time. So all you're really waiting on at that point is your radon. So if you say instead of 10 days, 5 days, man, that right there makes you look stronger.
And another thing that I think could potentially stand out is, as a realtor, kind of getting a feel for what the seller is looking for. And I think a big point of that is closing date.
Mm.
So, I mean, if they want to be out as fast as possible, say, okay, talk to your title company, your lender, see if we can push a 20-day closing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're lucky, you get 14-day closing.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be tough, but if all parties are diligent about it.
If you're pre-underwritten, and again, there's a difference between having an approval and then having a underwritten approval.
Mhm.
And when we talk to our next season, we're going to have multiple guests on, but we're going to have a couple different lenders, a couple different inspectors, appraisers, all that. But we'll talk to them about the difference between underwritten approval versus a regular approval, and that's something that stands out a lot,
Right.
and that allows you to close quicker.
Or close later. I mean, that's the other side of it. If they want 60 days to get out, I mean, that's a long time, but if you want to be that
Cater
flexible,
to them.
yeah, I mean, you can do everything in your power to cater to them.
And last thing I'll say too is as is inspections. Again, as is. As we talked about in that last episode, we're not talking about not doing inspections at all. We're saying take it or leave it. You're going to do your inspections. You're going to see all the reports, and then decide, do you want to move forward or do you want to back out and get your earnest money back? That's a very common one that we see right now. But I think non-refundable earnest money is huge. Whether you do it after inspection, before inspection, I just think that is one of the biggest things that somebody can do that doesn't change the terms of the contract really at all, but just makes them look stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what do you got
Those are
for
good
number
points. Next one, this one stood out to me a little bit. How does every website know how much my house is worth?
4? It's a great question.
Yeah,
Well, you always do feel like somebody's watching you
Oh, yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that factor as well. But I would say, I mean, we're talking about any website you go on.
yeah.
I mean, there's thousands of them, and any one that you click on always gives you a range, or
you
it'll
get
give
it
you
in
like
the mail, and you get it
mail.
a
Yeah,
text to you. You get emails.
they
about
will
how much
send
your
you a
house is
picture of
worth.
your house in the
Yeah,
mail.
yeah.
If you're like, here's a picture of your house, here's how much it's worth. It's like,
And here's how much we'll buy it for.
yeah, I'll say, and that it's funny because on all those websites, or a majority of them at least, it has a right here, click here to get a direct offer right now for this
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you coming up with that value? And I think that's where sometimes you need to zone out and say that value is not always accurate. And
Right.
that value is taken from a very large data pool and not zoned in specifically on your home. So if you've made any improvements to your home,
Right.
typically those aren't factored in.
Mhm.
If you have a finished basement and you added another bedroom in there,
Mhm.
bedroom counts off. So that's not always factored in. Curb appeal, if you change your curb appeal, obviously that adds value. Home buyers love curb appeal because it makes you feel, when you arrive to a home or when you have people over, it gives you a better presence
Yeah.
when you arrive.
Mhm.
And I think that's another thing that we can talk about, kind of back to the last episode with generations, ego, and how the ego, I feel like, has changed over generations as
Yeah.
well.
It's like driving a nice car.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's car is going to get you there, but everyone just sees the outside. It might be full of fast food bags on the inside.
the curb appeal of cars.
Yeah.
But no, and I think another thing though with that is they're taking the data that they have and they're seeing what are other similar homes with that same exact data in neighborhoods or in an entire city or an entire county selling for, and they're factoring in that. They're not factoring in that specific subdivision. They're not factoring in any improvements, things like that.
It's an estimate for a reason, right? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, it is an estimate. And so I think one of the biggest keys to that is like, really find out and do the research, like how much your home is worth. And that's why it's important to have a realtor. You know, I think that's why we
Talk to a few.
That's going to be talk to a few as well. But that's always going to be a common theme in this podcast is like, we're here to help. And there's reasons behind the things that we do. This is our job, you know, like there's a reason that we're doing it. So, estimates are estimates, but
Dylan, do you have anything to say on that topic?
I mean, another option is an appraisal.
No,
I mean,
that's a good point though.
Probably just the easiest way to get an accurate read of it. I mean, and there's no need to do that unless you're planning to sell or you're just really that curious.
But that's a good strategy though. Getting an appraisal before going on the market, because then you can say, price it maybe a little below that appraisal and say, look, we if you buy this home, you're coming into instant equity right away.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great point. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, if you get if there's an FHA appraisal that takes place, an FHA appraisal sticks with the house for 6 months. So if another FHA buyer comes through
Mm-hmm.
and they have to use that appraisal. I mean, FHA, that appraisal, whatever the value was, that sticks with that home for 6 months. So you automatically know right away if you accept an FHA buyer roughly what that appraisal is going to be. You feel comfortable knowing it's going to pass.
That's
What-
a good point.
Why don't you think people, real quick, why don't you think more people do that? Why don't they get the appraisal?
I don't think they know. To be completely honest,
It's true.
I don't think they're aware of the process when it comes down to the buying side or selling side.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're told, okay, we're going to take photos of the house.
Yep.
We're going to do open house. We're going to put it on the MLS. I don't think that the education of what to expect, and this goes back to episode 1 of what to expect
Mhm.
and informing your clients. But knowing that you can do a pre-listing appraisal, a pre-listing survey, pre-listing inspection, you can do all of those contingencies that the buyer is going to do
Uh-huh.
up front and just present all of that when you list and say, look, we did everything already.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's going to make your house stand out tremendously. And I tell you,
It
the
would.
process is going to go so much smoother than if you just do it and be surprised by it all.
That's a good point. Someone asked, what is the most interesting story you've had when buying or selling a home with a client?
That's a good question.
That's a good one. Do you have anything, Dylan?
Well, I'll think about it, but I did.
We all
pull
know
this
you
one
gotta-
out because of your story.
Yeah. So that was a couple of years ago.
Buckle up.
No, that was a couple of years ago. And I mean, I'll try to summarize it a little bit
Well, and
here.
it kind of, this story, just to preface it, it kind of has relations to some of the questions we've already answered. I mean,
That is true.
It can tell you a lot about real estate and how markets and pricing.
No, that is true. And I'll try to keep it somewhat brief, but also don't want to leave out too many details. But basically, I had a client that we bought a home for them, a nice villa, and I'm sorry, doing what? We already purchased the home at this time, and they were living at their current home still. So we put it on the market. Everything was great. We priced it. We came to an agreement on the price. I actually thought it was very accurate / possibly a little bit too high, but we were on agreement on it. So we go on the market, and right away we get about 10 or 15 showings scheduled. And now this is in 2023, 2024, something around then. Market was still, I mean, a lot of buyer activity was still going on, not a lot of supply. And this is over in the Crestwood area. So nice area. We're talking going on at $230,000, I believe was the list price. So a pretty attractive price point for that area. And I get a call from the buyer, and she's saying, or I'm sorry, the seller, and she's saying, wow, we got a lot of showings. Is this normal? I'm like, well, yeah, I expected we'd get a good amount. We priced it like we were talking about before. We priced it to get people in the door. Well, then it became 40 showings. Then it became 80 showings. Not even joking. It got to the point where we had over 110 showings scheduled, not passed yet, like 110 scheduled showings coming up. And I truthfully almost didn't even know what to think at this point. And I'm thinking, did I mess up here? Because I had another agent that sent me a message like, this home is so grossly underpriced. Like, I can't believe this. And then I had another agent call me saying, hey, do you know what? Don't worry about it, because the market is going to drive the home to where the true market price is. And that's always stuck with me. And so we get to the point where I'm like, I had a neighbor like 3 doors down said that they wanted to see it. I'm like, okay. So I go there the first day, and holy cow, man.
And you
I
knew
mean,
how crazy it was before you went there, right?
Yeah, I knew there was a bunch of showings scheduled. And this is where I learned it's important to put a block on how many people can see a home at a certain time. Meaning, like, if it's set for like 9 o'clock, like no more than 2 parties can see the
Mhm.
home at 9 o'clock. Like putting that buffer on it. And once there is 2 people, it blocks it out. So regardless, we go, it's like 3 o'clock when we're going over there. I want to say groups, like total groups of people, that we had probably 40 people in this house at once. And it is it's kind of sickening to look back at because it was to the point where this is a house of about 1,300 square feet, 1,500 square feet on the main floor, and then downstairs was a small, partially finished area. But I mean, phenomenal curb appeal. Curb appeal was great.
Yeah.
But so we get to the point. I'm walking through the house with her, and or the neighbor, I mean, and we're going through the house, and she asked me what we're doing. I said, "Oh, I have a 12-step marketing approach that I do," and I'm in a suit. I mean, I always go in suits. That's one thing that I've always told myself is if you're going to trust me, I'm going to look professional. I'm going to give you the courtesy of showing that I am a professional. So then I get of course a comment from a guy who walks by and he goes, "Oh, it looks like your 12-step approach is really working." And I'm like, all right, you could tell the attitude in that comment. Okay, so regardless, fast forward, I get calls from agents. I'm like, man, this is like an open house. I'm like, yeah, I know that's not great. And we had the buyer or the seller, I'm sorry, she's living over in her daughter's house because there's so much happening.
Yeah, she can't even go home.
No, so she lived over in her daughter's house for the weekend. I get calls all the time. Hey, how many offers do you have? 35. How many offers do you have now? Like 42. And every time it's just like
just immediate hang up on you.
Basically, like, oh, I had a couple that were like, I can't believe that hung up. I did have a couple that were just like, could not believe it. A lot of time
actually didn't believe it.
No, seriously, I that's how I kind of felt too. And then it got to the point where I said, all right, we're all done. I put a time or a deadline on it. I went over to the seller's house at, I want to say it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I sat down with them. I said, all right, are you guys ready to see what we have? And opened up my computer. I said, we had about 52 offers. And they were just shocked. And I said, you know what? And I kind of like what that agent told me. I said, the market will always determine what the home's market value is. It's whatever a buyer is willing to pay for the home.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, we had some tremendous offers. We ended up accepting an offer for just about $100,000 over asking, all cash, no inspections whatsoever, quick closing. And that was a lesson that I learned. And it was a lesson that was not a bad one by any means, because there was no consequence or anything, but it was a lesson of, one, pricing a home accurately does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Pricing a home a little under market value does help.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, knowing and understanding that if you do make a mistake, the market will take the home to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And that was a lesson for me of saying, I really need to watch how to market homes. And I, over the last 3 years, I took that to heart, and I've spent a lot of time on continuing education, on really focusing on pricing accuracy and how to determine value and comps and everything like that. But I mean, at that time though, I comped the house out and it was right in line with everything else at 230.
And your sellers were happy. They would have been happy with
thrilled.
that price. And it's like,
truthfully, I thought they were about to have a heart attack. The husband, I truly thought that he was like, I was worried for a second because when I showed him the amount that we got, he was just like, would not move or talk. I kind of got worried for a second, but
it's confusing when all your metrics and analysis and it comes to a number and the sellers are happy with it and it's kind of in the ballpark they were thinking, and it's like immediately it's just like, bam, ooh, I messed up.
And I think
how did that happen?
Exactly, and it's just like I said, it's lessons learned. And as our John, who we're going to have him on, but he always tells me, he goes, some lessons are taught, some are bought, some are caught. That was a lesson that was taught that, it worked out and I was able to manage it, thankfully, to an extent. It could have been managed better, to be honest, in terms of like the traffic flow with the house. But that's one of those stories where I look back at, and I will always look back the rest of my life at that and think, I'm so thankful and grateful for that opportunity. And I loved working with that client. I ended up doing about 6 or 7 transactions total with that family in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for that opportunity because, one, it allowed me to grow, and 2, it gave me lessons to look back at, both positive and negative.
Well, they thought you sold their home for $100,000 over what it's worth. They sent everybody they know to you.
Exactly. No, it all worked out, and I think they were thrilled.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, market brought the home to where it truly
Mhm.
is worth.
Yeah.
Well, I can't top that. So
I mean, I got one on the buyer side. Then
Okay.
it doesn't have the comedic touch. There was no happy ending. But so it's pretty quick. So I was just working with an out of state client. They were a buyer. They came in. They got fully pre-approved. Everything was so smooth. They were great. They were very gracious. They had family in the area, St. Louis area.
Yeah.
And they were fully into it. They needed a new home, and I mean, it was very excited. They were very excited to move in, and so they came to St. Louis. I mean, drove many, many hours, got to St. Louis, saw some houses, didn't like any, came back, did it again. We write on a house. So, I mean, they're fully dedicated.
Right.
You make 2 trips from multiple states away. I mean, you're dedicated to buy a house.
Yeah, I would say so.
We found one. They loved it. Wrote an offer on it. And I believe they were first-time home buyers. And the inspection came back. And we had a 10-day inspection period. And we got it done in like 3 days. Inspection came back. Sent it. Never heard a word again.
What do you mean?
It freaked him out. I called.
Like you never heard anything from the buyer or the seller?
The buyer. I called him.
Whoa.
I called him.
Oh,
They didn't
wow.
answer. Finally, 7 days go by. So it's the 10th day, last day of the inspection period.
Oh,
I said,
wow.
look, you're going to lose thousands of dollars of earnest money.
We need to back out or accept it.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously, the inspection period freaked you out. They had texted me this morning and said, you know, it's too much wrong with the house. And I said, look,
Let's walk through
well,
this.
I'm glad you responded today, but I'm like, you got to answer my call and just at least sign this paper so you won't lose your money. Just sign the inspection notice saying you want to back out.
Right.
I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, I mean, we can talk about it and why, because nothing was seriously wrong with the house. Either something was happening with them personally and they were just kind of afraid to.
But that's also one of those things where the seriousness, I mean, everybody looks at things on an inspection report differently.
Yeah.
So like something to someone might be really serious, something may not be as serious as someone else. And so
Mhm.
that always does vary. But to your point, I mean, it's on the 10th day is cutting it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's almost to
I
the
mean,
point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had maybe gotten one text right away that was like, this is a lot. And then I think we might have called that evening and I just kind of told him like, it's not there's a lot going on the page, but like,
We need to walk through it.
like she kept mentioning like the foundation, but I'm like, it's just the driveway. Like the bottom of the driveway had some cracks.
Okay.
And I'm like, the house is fine. Like, I thought it was a really solid inspection report. I mean, it's never going to be pretty.
No, I think that's where the education process comes in. And
Yeah.
that's something that
Mhm.
obviously through the first deals that all of us do is understanding that we need to inform the buyer that an inspection report is going to be 35 to 45
Yeah.
pages just on a good inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that's on a typical inspection.
And that's what I really wished was that I just had the chance to at least talk to them about it and like
Yeah.
sit down with them or walk through it. But it was those few texts and then not again until I told them like, hey, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose your earnest money. Like you kind of have to tell me.
We need to move forward. Yeah,
I need you to sign this release at least.
exactly. And I say it gets to
And-
the point where if you're reaching out and you're pushing to get something to
Mhm.
happen and you're just not getting any response.
Yeah.
I mean, one, that needs to be documented to show that you're making the effort, you're doing your
Right.
obligation to your client. But two, I mean, that's a tough spot. But yeah, I mean, understanding from a buyer's perspective, when you're buying a home, say it's a $300,000 or not even that. Let's say it's a $120,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still going to be a 40-page long inspection report.
Mhm.
So when you open it up, if I don't have a whole lot of context and I open it up and I see 40 pages are wrong with my house, I'm going to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I'm immediately saying, I'm done. Get me out of this.
Right.
You don't realize that a lot of the items on there are saying that just this was looked at. this looks good. Like they're making
Yeah,
notes about every
absolutely.
item they looked at. It's not just bad things.
Well, and I was just gonna say, like, I think I had mentioned in one of the first episodes that, like, when I was going through my process, I was extremely nervous. Home buying process, that is, extremely nervous. Had tons of questions, and I remember getting the inspection report back and being like, what is
it?
happening? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Why would I buy this house?
And so it was important. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Checked out. All right. So, anyways, but yeah, I think just getting that education from the realtor, she sat down and explained it. And that was just so helpful because it is a lot and there's so many questions that you have. So it's important to lean on whoever it is that is representing you to just figure it out.
That was my first few months after getting my license. So I'm sure I could have done a better job. I really thought that I had done everything that I could have done, but in terms of prepping them for the inspections and kind of
Right.
telling them what to expect, I'm sure I could have done a better job there. But I mean,
But again, that at
you know,
that
I
point,
felt pretty helpless.
but
at
you
some point.
but you look back and you say, okay, that's one of those learning experiences that you have gone through. And I think to answer the question that was originally submitted to this point, which was, what's a kind of a crazy experience you had? Well, for me, my crazy experience was one when I kind of originally started with real estate, and it was underpricing a home at the end of the day, which I thought was priced accurately.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying to figure out and manage that situation. Yours, a lesson that was taken away was the fact that educating the buyer on what to expect. And obviously it probably felt helpless when you're reaching out and not getting any response, but understanding that that's a lesson that you can take. Every single transaction, we're taking away lessons and we're taking away experiences. And I think over the last 6 years, that's been my biggest takeaway is 115 plus transactions closed. In every single one of them, I've taken away something. And I'm not just saying that, I'm making that up. It's
No,
been
absolutely.
it's been from help with the buyers, the sellers, I mean, just investors in general, property management. I've learned a lot from them. Appraisers, I've talked to multiple appraisers. When I sell a house, typically I'll meet the appraiser when they do the appraisal report, just to talk to them and say, hey, here's the comps that I used when I listed the house. Here's what I used. And I think that you should look into these as well. That way we're on the same page. They may not use them, but at least if they do, they can see, okay, I get why they priced it at this price. But
Yeah.
you're getting a takeaway from all these experiences.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
All right.
all right, no, I think that was a good episode. So everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure to share the show. In the description, we're going to have all of the information about all three of us. Make sure to go ahead and follow us on the socials. Make sure to like our page, subscribe, and episode number 4 is going to be coming up next.
And we'd love to do more Q&As, so keep firing questions away,
yeah.
and we'll be looking out online if any of you reach out. So,
Yeah, fire away.
yeah, these are fun ones for us to do.
Episode 4 is going to be dropping next week, and then following episode 4, I believe that's going to start season 2 from there, and that's going to be dedicated just to special guests. So we're going to have, I believe we have right now like 8 special guests lined up. So be ready, because it's going to be a pretty good season. A lot of interesting different takes, different perspectives, and so make sure you're following. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you guys.
See ya.